Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. This is Kenny.
Hello.
And Kenny and I worked together for 11 years, and we've known each other for
20 probably.
20 plus years. Kenny is Executive Vice President of S&H Farm Supply, which is the old place where I used to work. New Holland, Coyote, Bush Hog, Rhino, they got everything dealer in Southwest Missouri. And we're going to talk today, we've got the Q1 tractor numbers in of total industry sales for North America. And I'm going to get Kenny's analysis. There's a lot of things changing in the market. And Kenny, I'm going to flash up on the screen. These numbers are from the Association of Equipment Manufacturers, and we want to thank them for letting us use these numbers. But here's the latest numbers. And we're going to break these down by horsepower class. And the first one we're going to look at here is under 40 horsepower. And if you notice, you got a blue line, which is your sales in the first quarter, and an orange line, which is your inventory. And if you go back, we're going way back to 2019 because that's the last full year before COVID. And you see what happened in COVID, and you lived this. Your inventory went down, your demand went up, and these lines got really close together. Well, now we're out of that. So in the under 40 horsepower range, it looks like in 2023, the inventory kind of got out of control. It's kind of come back a little bit in line now. What do you see in the under 40 horsepower market?
Well, Mike, it's once again proof that hindsight's 2020. So, to have had today's inventory in 2020
when there was demand for all of it, yeah.
And so, what we saw there in 2020, 2021, you couldn't get enough tractors. You couldn't get them, and we continued to place orders because we thought, this new 18 to 24 months to get an order from order entry to delivery might be an ongoing thing. What we found out, we got to in the Q1 of 2023, and all those orders started showing up, and they just keep showing up. So people got their tractors during that time. What normally happens when you have really strong demand, you have limited supply, you have increased wage pressure to keep employees at your manufacturing plants. It costs more to pay the truck driver to haul them. So you start coming in with fairly significant price increases. So we've got a ramping up inventory. We've got a rapidly escalating price environment. People start to go back to work. They're paying their bills. They're not getting as much discretionary income as they once did. And the demand starts to taper off, partly because of price. Did we mention that something happened there in 23 with the interest rate environment?
Interest rates came up.
Yep. Interest was a part of your payment once again, which we hadn't encountered in quite some time. So kind of the perfect storm to do a market and inventory analysis.
Let's move now to the 40 to 100 horsepower range. And we're seeing an inventory situation there. That inventory has grown quite a bit, and the demand is, it didn't spike in COVID like the small tractors did, but it's not headed up, and supply is. So where are we at with mid-range tractors?
So mid-range tractor, it's you're going to do something. You have a job for that tractor. It's a little different than your 40 horsepower and under, which can be a recreational tractor or something to maintain a property. But this 40 to 100 horsepower, you're going to do work with that tractor. And so that market is fairly flat long term. There's not a lot of big peaks and valleys. But we did, I think, some because we couldn't get the smaller tractors, some because there were some homestead people, some people who moved the country and bought bigger acreages. And so we saw that spike up a little bit. And then it really got hard to get those tractors. So the inventory came way down. Price ranges, that 40 to 100 horsepower tractor, just for loose terms, sells for about twice the amount of money that an under 40 horsepower would. And when that price started going up in that 40 to 100 horsepower market, a lot of those tractors from 2022 to 2024 have increased in price 25-30%.
Wow.
And if you couple that with rising interest rates, the cost of ownership is just significant. And I think that's attributed to some of the decline in demand. It's just more than I planned for. The guys who are in this market probably have a tractor that's just fine and does the job they need to do. So they were upgrading, buying a new tractor because they could, they wanted to, it was relatively reasonable. During that time where the new inventories really got used up, used tractors became extremely valuable. We saw a sharp rise in used tractor prices. So if you wanted to trade out or sell your old tractor and buy a new one, it was easy to do and it didn't cost you much money. Now we've seen that trend reverse a little bit where the manufacturers are offering some sales programs of low interest on new tractors. Low interest is typically not available on a used tractor, so the cost of ownership of a used tractor is significantly more than new. And I think you see that reflected in the trends as new inventory builds, demand decreases a little bit, and the used tractor market is also seeing some price decline.
Let's go to the big tractors. This is a market that in this area we don't participate in, but you follow it. You're on the board of directors of Farm Credit, and they watch these trends closely. What do you see in the big tractors there?
We've been through a decade of very low interest rates, very good commodity prices, an expansionary phase, and really a consolidation phase in production agriculture. So you saw large farms getting larger, a lot of people exiting, a lot of cash income, farm cash incomes were the highest we'd seen in a long, long time. They have declined a little bit over the past year, and they're forecasted to continue to decline on cash farm income. And I think you're seeing that reflected in the demand of these tractors. It's not bad, but that's typically a market that, there again, is pretty flat. People have work to do. They have functional units, and that they're again some pretty significant price increases in that equipment. The technology has got big. The integrated technology between implements and tractors is a big thing. I think we ramped up for what we saw as maybe the future of agriculture and didn't quite anticipate that the needle can move the way it has in the farm cash income world.
We've talked about production agriculture. Has our capacity to grow crops for maybe a brief period of time under normal conditions exceeded our demand?
I think so. We've expanded our acreage. We're planting a lot more acres of corns and beans than we have in the past, even though what you hear in the news a lot of times is about urban sprawl and how houses are eating up farmland. I think we've continued to grow acres some. Technology and plant genetics have let marginal acres produce a decent crop. And so I think we've got to a point where we're just probably production may be exceeding demand for a short period of time.
Now the next market we're going to look at is articulated tractors, and the supply of them has been nothing. I say nothing. In North America, been way low for the last few years, but that's all coming around now. Supply's on its way up, and demand seems to be leveling off. I'm sure that kind of parallels the other tractors, the over 100 non-articulated tractors.
Yeah, I think those fit in the same slot. They're cash crop, and big construction drives that entire market. And so I think that's what you're seeing reflected as you see some of the manufacturers start announcing some plant layoffs in the production of these bigger units, trying to get the supply and demand more back in line.
And combines are kind of on the same page. The supply of combines has gone up, but we've been kind of at a deficit with almost more demand for combines than there was supply there for a while. But that's all about to switch.
It's such a small population of the machinery world and such a significant dollar amount, and so probably the last 30 years getting combine supply and demand on the same trend has been really difficult.
Yeah.
It's amazing what these machines can do. It's amazing what they cost.
Yeah. So for my viewers that look at these numbers, and the reason I do these reports is I try to create a little bit of bridge between the end user and the dealer and the manufacturer to understand each other, what's going on. If you're thinking about buying right now, do you put it off or you go ahead and buy because inventory's up? What do you do?
So Mike, I always tell people the same thing, you need to buy when it's right for you. But if you're looking for a new tractor, new combine, I don't think it's a bad time to buy it. If you have a trade-in, it may feel a little tough because you may have heard numbers or prices for what you think your tractor would be worth that just aren't out there today. And they're not far off, but they are a wee bit softer. But on the new side, if you're an outright buyer, a little bit more inventory than demand is advantageous to you. You have good options between dealers, but you also have good dealer programs because the manufacturers want to move this inventory as well as the dealers. So they're putting good incentive plans out there to help you purchase that tractor. You know, there's a common sentiment that, you know, this inventory builds up and they'll get cheap. I would say my 33 plus years in the business, new prices just don't go down all that much. We'd like to think that they do, but there's so much cost embedded in them. The price of wages at the plants, the price of transportation, all those things, prices just typically don't come down much. So I think pick the time that's right for you, and the programs are pretty good today.
Alrighty. Appreciate you watching my videos. Here's a link to my website where you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you don't mind doing that, that helps me out a bunch. Here's my website and the Tractor Fund Store with unique items for sale for the tractor owner. And here's a couple of other videos you might want to watch. Thanks for watching.